And I'm back. Okay, this one is going to be all the 10 by 10 books, so they're all the ones that are square, because it's fun to keep them together, right? Alright, so we got Beauty of Horror 1 and 2, and I don't have 3 because I wasn't all that into it. I may get it, I know, eventually, but I figured, you know, 2 books is already plenty to color, so you don't really have to worry about it. And of course I have the Christmas one too, so it's a lot to color. And some of them are a bit more horror-y than I would like, but you know, I still like Halloween, and so, you know, there's enough in here that I want to color. So. And then this one is Other Worlds, Icons of Fantasy, Epic Journeys. Yeah. And this one is cool because it has 4 artists, 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 artists that do a 8-page story. So you get the different styles and the different stories. And I really like that. The only issue is I don't like the paper or the cover. It's a very cheap construction, but whatever. It's one of those things where sometimes you gotta let it go for the art. And I've got Villain San and Zemlja Snova, and these are Croatian books by Tomislav Tomic, and this one is signed, but it's not signed with, it's signed with my legal name, which I hate, so I don't actually use, but I have to use it to pay for things, and that's what the person ordering the book ended up telling him to sign, so that kind of sucks, but whatever. It's very expensive to change your name legally, so that's why I haven't done it. But I haven't gone by my legal name in 25 years. And I'm 35, so. And so I have 2 things started in this book, and they're so close to being finished, I should just finish them. But there's a lot of detail in both of these books, so. It's one of those ones where you know it's going to be a big time commitment. This is one of my favorite books called Dreamweaver, and this is my second copy because my first one got wrecked, which totally bummed me out. But it's about a girl that dreams that her cat goes into her dream and goes on adventures, and she just kind of follows it around. So you see her. I don't know where the cat is in this image, but the cat is always in the image. There's the cat. So yeah, it's a lot of varying landscapes and stuff, and you see her dreaming about these landscapes. There's the cat right there. What I wanted to do was every time you see her in her room, I wanted to make the room dark, like grayscale, and the dream in color, because I think that would be fun to show the contrast. And this one is the Flower Fairies coloring book. Now there's tons of different kinds of these coloring books, and this one has a tannish kind of paper. With most of the images are combined from, like she did individual images of these 2 fairies and their flowers, but these ones are combined. So, what is that? That's the Cornflower and Buttercup fairies. So yeah. And then I've got Pop Manga Mermaids and Pop Manga. And this one was a gift, so that makes it even more special. And it's about mermaids, because I do follow Camilla DeErico on Instagram. And she asked what books would we like to see, like for the next theme or whatever. And I basically, you know, screamed underwater at her. I mean, I said space would be good too, but I basically, you know, underwater, underwater, underwater. And that's what we got. So, yeah, very happy about that. I love the shark. I love the little fishes. I just, you know, it's a great representation of her work and a great subject. So, and then this is the regular one with mostly featuring females and fantasy art. So, and then I've got The Magical Christmas by Lizzie Mary Cullen, and I have several of her books. This one is the Christmas one. And so I've colored in it several times during the holidays. This is one of the first books I got, so the first Christmas that I started coloring, I colored in this. And then I've also got The Magical Journey. And it's the same style, but this one is basically her and her dog get in a plane and go all over the world. And see, so there's her and her dog. And travel all over the world in her fanciful style. So, you know, they went to Japan and stuff like that. Spartacus, go lay down. Go. Go lay down. Now. He's whining because his daddy's not home, but, I mean, it's the middle of the day, so it's not like I can help that. And this one is the Magical City. So this is mostly cityscapes and houses and stuff. So there's less landscapes in this one. But still the same style. And then I've got the 2 Doctor Who books. Both of them were gifts. This one is the American version. This one is the UK version. And because I got it from my friend in the UK. And this is the one I wanted more just because it has more of the recent Doctors that I actually know. I haven't seen the older series. And then this one is from my friend who ended up with 2 of them. So this one has both new and old Doctor Who. So. And I did actually use this to try coloring faces because coloring faces with my Copics in a coloring book, because I do have other books that I like more, like this one, the Buffy the Vampire Slayer one. And it's also single-sided, and I wanted to see how it would work on similar paper. And they're not the same publishers, but it's the same idea of not Copic paper, but not copier paper, which I'm also used to. So this one's all Buffy images. This one is several different artists, so I don't like all of the images, because some of the artists are kind of meh. But there is enough, and of course, since I am a fan of the series, like, it's nice to remember the things that happened and color that scene, you know. But, like, where's the one I don't like? This one. I don't like that style. I don't think they look good in manga style. It looks kind of weird. And then I've got the Serenity coloring book, which I'm pretty sure is more based on the movie, but it's still Firefly. But I think that's why it's called Serenity. I don't know. It kind of has scenes from everything, but you get more portraits in here, and the artists are much better. The first book that they put out is basically, you know, people reviewed it very badly, and rightly so, because the art was just not good. And these ones, it actually looks like the characters. No, it's more based on the TV show, because, like, the last 4 scenes were the show. But, yeah. So they put out a new one and got better artists, and so this one is a lot nicer. So don't get the other one. Don't look for that one. It's called Everything's Shiny. Get this one. Don't get the other one. Or if you do, prepare for them to look really weird, because I saw the flip-throughs, and I'm like, I would be mad if I paid $14 for that. And this one is a Steven Universe coloring book, and like their tradition of Dark Horse, which they did the Serenity, or they did the Firefly and the Buffy one. In the tradition of Dark Horse, they are very good at the books that they do, and so the paper is pretty decent, especially if you're going to use Copics. And, you know, lots of scenes from the show, lots of things that you would recognize if you're a fan of the show, or the, you know, TV show or movies or whatever they happen to be basing their book on. And various artists, and very in keeping with the style. So, that's that one. This one's the official DreamWorks coloring book, also by Dark Horse. Oh wait, no, this one's not. This one is just DreamWorks. But this one's good too. It's not as good because it's got the weird background thing going on. But it's got images from several of their movies, and you see I started that one. Several of their movies. I mostly got it for Kung Fu Panda, blah, and How to Train Your Dragon. Because I did buy a couple of the children's coloring books, but mostly for mixed media. I wanted actual coloring books. Unfortunately, it is double-sided, so I can't use my my Copics in it. And then another Dark Horse, which I color in a lot. This is my most colored in coloring book. You can see the little flags in it. This is The Witcher, and it's a book series and a TV series and a video game. So, but this one is based on the video game representation of the characters. So it kind of goes through all 3 of the video games, but mostly focuses on the 3rd one, because that's the most popular one. Like, not that it's the best one, but it's more the most recent, and it's more the gateway of people into the series. But yeah. This one is the Dr. Seuss coloring book. And this one I'm going to do all in crayon because I think that, of course, Dr. Seuss would look good in crayon. And I'm sorry if I'm hitting the cable for my camera. It's just easier if I have it plugged in. So yeah, I used it all. I use crayon in this book, and it's just one of those ones where you can just color it, you know, just color a little bit and then set it aside. Most people do that with doodles, but I can't help but get really detailed with doodles. And this one I just got for Christmas, so there's nothing in it yet. But this is the this is a dark crystal, and this is based on the movie. There is a TV series coming soon, but this is based on the movie, and that came out in '82 before I was born. But I did grow up watching it, so it's one of those nostalgic kind of things. And then I've got two of Denise Collette's book. This is Gnomes in the Neighborhood, and this one is single-sided. So you can, I have used my markers in it and not worry about bleeding or anything like that. And I love gnomes. I grew up with David the Gnome, the TV series on Nickelodeon, so I really like gnomes. And I like, you know, that they're chubby. I want to do this one because it's still winter here. But, yeah. And then this one is Mermaids in Paradise. I do love mermaids. I'm not so much a fan of the faces on all of them, but I like underwater things and I like mermaids, so I figured I would go for it. And it is also single-sided, so you can color it with your Copics as crazy or as subdued as you want, which is fun. And then this one was gifted to me by my friend in the UK, so this is the UK version of Enchanted Forest. I'm not really a Johanna Basford fan. This is the only book that I have, and it is because it is a gift. But I will, you know, definitely give it a shot coloring it. So, there's that. And then we've got Kirby Rosanes' books. I'm just going to move this over so that I have a place to put it. I don't have a small desk, but I have a small workspace. So, this is Geomorphia, gifted to me by my friend. And the only reason I wanted it gifted to me was because the Norwegian version didn't get this image, and it didn't get that image. And so I wanted those two images. And I like every other image in this book, so I don't mind coloring them twice if I end up doing that, because I've already colored like 3 in my Norwegian copy. So, yeah. And then this is Mythomorphia. I can't decide if I like this one or Geomorphia better, because I really do enjoy those, but this one's bigger. Oh, damn. Freaking prismas, man. Got everywhere. I'll have to cover over that. Another reason I don't use prismas anymore. So yeah, this is Mythomorphia. Another one of those ones that's exceedingly popular, and you'll be able to see, you know, many, many examples of the work colored. And this book is interesting because it's the first time that I started coloring an image and finished coloring an image. Like, you know, from start to finish instead of putting the book aside. Excuse me. I have done that more recently now, but it wasn't something that I used to do very often. This one is Imagimorphia, also very cool, and one of the ones that I really love. And these are books that I want to finish, so whether that's something that will actually happen, I don't know. But Kirby's books are up there in the few that I actually just want to finish all of, so we'll see. And then I have 2 copies of Anamorphia because I did that thing that Dee Dee Willingham suggested where you go through and you know, color the background and do a wash over everything with acrylic paint. And the problem is I really hate coloring on acrylic paint. I cannot understate how much I hate coloring on acrylic paint. It's just rough and gritty, and it gives me the shivers to color on acrylic paint. And so basically, since I did it so much, I did it before we went on a plane, and so I figured I would do a acrylic wash on everything, and then I would be able to fly on the plane and with my pencils and be able to color in the details. And so I did way too many images in here with that, and the texture just skeeves me out so much. I do not like acrylic paint whatsoever. So I thought, you know what, since my book is pretty much blah every time I color in it, I would get another one. So I got the American version, and the funny thing is, this is actually thicker paper than the Italian version that I originally got. And I don't know how many times they've reprinted it because it's a very popular book. But yeah, this paper is actually thicker than the Italian version, which I was told was better, which is why I bought it in the first place. But the only issue is that the pages are already coming out. Like, I had it for about 20 minutes, and the pages started to come out. So I might just rebind it. But the point is, I have a clean copy now that I can color with my Tombow markers, and I'm not going to paint in it again. And I just plain don't like Americana paint in general, so I will not ever be doing that again to my books. But, you know, I mean, your mileage may vary. She's been doing it forever, and it works great for her, and it works great for other people. It's just the texture of pencil on paint skeeves me out. I don't know why. It's so gritty, and it goes through your pencils like crazy. Like, I like my nice pencils. Don't eat them up, please. And, anyway, random rant for no reason. This is Mythographic by Joseph Kattenbang. And he's a California artist, which I always approve of because I'm from California. And he has another book coming, which I am very excited for, and it's even more fantasy. This one is Animals and I made a joke, and he actually laughed about it. I made the joke that it shouldn't have been called Mythographic. It should have been called Animals in Fuck Tons of Foliage. Because that's basically what it is. It's just an animal and just a ridiculous amount of foliage. And he laughed and he said, you know, I honestly didn't want to put as much foliage as the publishers told me to. So he said that the next one is going to be different. And it's not that I don't love this book. This is a great book. I've colored 3 things in it already. Or 2 things. Something like that. Because it is great, but it's just the amount of foliage is so funny sometimes when you're in it and you're like, oh look, another leaf. So yeah, but this is a great book, especially if you like fantasy animals and regular animals. So, and it is single-sided, so I use my Copics in it. Plus, it's really thick. And this is another one of those ones that I definitely want to finish, and I've done multiple images in. This is Lee Melandrez's, and again, he's, I think he's from the Philippines, so do not quote me on how you say that, but that's Exploratorium, and it's basically a bunch of doodles, and it's even got a search and find thing. It's got little descriptions about the personality of the doodle that you're trying to find in this area. And usually I color them in a different color, so it kind of ruins the search and find part of it, but it's still really fun, and it's definitely one of those books that I have to finish at some point, because it's great. So like this one, and The Witcher, and, what else? The Kirby Rosanes books. It's a lot to finish. And these ones are called Mythical Cats in Secret Places and Fanciful Dogs in Secret Places. And it's basically cats and dogs doing crazy things. So, like, this one is sleeping among mushrooms because it's high. I don't know. This one, these cats are in a bunch of pillows. There's pirate cats, there's space cats, there's riding on fireworks cats. And then, you know, essentially dogs doing the same thing, except dogs have, you know, more noticeable breeds. So you get, you know, the police dog, or actually that's a trained dog. You get dachshunds, you get corgis, you know, all different kinds of dogs. You get the husky in the winter, because of course that makes sense, you know. So that's those books. We've got Mermaids in Wonderland by Marcos Chin. And I'm pretty sure this is a Chinese artist, but he's done, it's sort of a storybook, it's sort of a search and find book, but it's a lot of detailed mermaids, and this I got for one of my birthdays. I think it was 2017. So yeah, I started coloring I started coloring in coloring books in November 21st, 2016. And then I have been coloring with Copics for 9 years officially this January. But yeah, I always did digi stamps and stuff like that. So yeah, it's a little over 2 years now that I've been coloring in coloring books. And this one is called The Day That We Finally Meet. This is a Korean book. And it's sort of a maternity storybook type thing, but since I can't read the writing and it's basically just cute animals with their children, you know, I really don't care why the subject is what it is. And it's mostly single-sided, but occasionally there's an image on the other side, so I might actually end up using my Copics in this for the parts where there's not like a cute duck on the other side. But we'll see. My Copics definitely make things faster because I color really slow. I don't know why these books aren't together, but oh, they're there. Let's do this one first. This one is called many different translations, but it's close to My Dreaming Rooms or My Dream Rooms or Rooms of My Dreams, something like that. But I'm sorry, I'm leaning away from the camera, but it doesn't care. Oh, this is another one by Chiaki Ida, or Ida, I don't know how to say her name. And there is another one called My Colorful Town, but I don't really like that one. So I just got this one. And it's all different girls in different, you know, rooms and fantasy type places. And like this one lives in a tree house, that kind of thing. So I thought that one was super cute, so I got that. I've got Kanoko Igusa's 2 original books without their dust jackets. They have dust jackets. So I finished some in this one. And, like, at least, I think there's 2 in the other one I finished. But yeah, again, with the cute animals in Japanese style, which is pretty much right up my street. And since I do have the Creative Haven, they did put some of these images in that, so I have multiple copies of things, and then, again, you can just photograph and print, or, you know, scan if you have a scanner. I now have a scanner, which is fun. But I've always just photographed things too. The little cats, if you're wondering about the little cat tabs, they're color-coded, so this means it's a fall image, an autumn image kind of a thing. And so that way I can just look at the book and be like, okay, well this has a red tag, so obviously there's a holiday. I don't know where it is. Obviously there's a holiday image in here, and the gray ones are winter and stuff like that. I don't know why I'm like this, but that's the system that I have, just to be able to look and know without having to flip through every single book, because I do have a lot of books. And this is called the Daily Coloring Book, and it's about this girl and her little dog and her little cat, rather. I think they're 2 cats, or maybe that's a dog and that's a cat. It's hard to tell sometimes. And the little hamsters, and it's... The problem with this book is the paper is so bad you can see through. You can see, I don't know if it's showing up on camera, but you can actually see through the image that's printed on the other side. It's not even you're seeing through it. You're seeing this image. It's that thin. So it's impossible to color with anything else because the ink itself is already bleeding through of its own paper. But, so it's impossible to color with anything but pencils. So I might just have to reprint, but it's a great book. The animals are so cute, like they're having little tea ceremony to themselves, and he's actually hanging out in the tea, like, it's so adorable that I had to get it despite how bad the quality is. Yeah, it looks like that's a dog, that's a cat, and then that's the little hamster guy, and they're just not in, they're not in perspective. So... that one. This is another one of those that I had to get the second that I saw it. And this one, the animals aren't like drawn as photorealistic. They're more cartoonish, which is kind of fun. So you've got different parts of this one town where the animals live. And so you get, where is it? You get like title pages, which of course I cannot read. But it's basically different sections of this whole town, and you get to see, like, this is how the pigs live, and this is how the wolves live, and this is how the sheeps live, and stuff like that. It really reminds me of the Sylvanian family. I don't know if every American has heard of them, but they do still exist. I found their website the other day. So the Sylvanian family is still around. But yeah, I've half-colored many of these images, so nothing is actually done. But this one's called Animal Friends and Their Wonderful Home in the Woods. So yeah. And then these two books are definitely books that I want to finish. I adore not only this artist, but these books themselves are amazing. So first one is called The Cat Coloring Therapy by Grace J. And that's the only thing, she's on Instagram. That's the only thing I found about her. So I don't know anything very fancy. But this one is all cats. And they're mostly anthropomorphic. Like they're doing things, but they're also realistic. So, somehow the paws are holding up knitting needles and stuff like that. It's very cute in that kind of a way. You get big images. You get just such a variety of these cats' lives. It's so beautiful. And I really like this book. I really liked coloring in it. I've only used pencils in it, so it takes forever for me to do a page, but yeah. And then this book that she came out with just recently, and I got it for myself for Christmas, is not only the cats, but the cats have now been joined by a tiger. And originally I was going to do a white tiger, only to find out that, genetics-wise, white tigers don't even exist. So I will be doing a orange tiger as it is depicted. And I think I'm going to do all his or her little friends exactly the way they're depicted on the cover. So I'm going to color them just like that. And that's a fun kind of challenge for me. And she's a watercolor artist, so I'm not going to be able to color the same. But these two are definitely among the I need to finish these kind of books in my collection. We are almost done with this section, and we've got one more section and we're done. So long video, and hopefully it actually uploads, but yeah. Anyway, this one I've seen it only translated as Bunny Girl, so it's basically, exactly what it says on the tin, the girl and the bunnies. And I was kind of back and forth on this one, but it is very cute. I don't like the girl so much, but I do like the bunnies. So, that's super cute. I think the girl kind of looks a little weird, but, whatever. But the bunnies are great. So there's that one. This one is called Allie the Fox, Draw a Fairy Tale World for You. And Allie the Fox is apparently very popular in China. I had no idea, but he has his own TV show even. And so he's got his own little fantasy world, and he travels different places. And so there's a lot of different images in here of, just different settings. And then each one has a smaller image on the back, so it's not technically single-sided. And the artist is great. Some of their art is actually colored, on the internet that I found. But most of the stuff I didn't see redone. But it's such a cute book. So I had to pick that one up. It's one of those, unique books that I really like to find. This one is called Animal Adventures by Nicole Gustafson, and her art I really, really love. I've been following her for quite a while, and when I heard that she was putting out a coloring book, I was so excited, and so, just constantly being as annoying as I could on Facebook. Where is it? When can I get it? Are you working on it? Because her art is great, and I love so much of it that I could never afford as many prints as I want to buy, and this way I can get a good sample of her work and just color it myself, because, I'm a good enough colorist that I can represent it well enough, so it's sort of like owning her prints. But yeah. So that's that one. And then this one is Akari Cats. I forget what this one is called. But yeah. This one is all about cats and mostly animals, and that's the back of the book stuff. This is another one of those story ones, so the cats go on an adventure, and I wanted the cats to be represented the same way every time I did it, so I wrote down their colors and stuff like that. And, you get a lot of different animals, a lot of, the typical anthropomorphic cats or animals in different situations, doing human things, stuff like that. So it's a very fun and whimsical book. And, yeah, I really liked it. And the cats usually appear somewhere in every picture. So there's that one. This one, I think the bunny is called Molang. Yeah, see, Molang. I don't know if you can actually read that, but yeah. And this one is cool because you get the original art in nice glossy pages and information, which I cannot read. You get nice glossy art. You get search and find things. So in the image, so it's kind of like a Where's Waldo, but you know, much cuter because there's bunnies. And then in the back, you get the same images that you just did the search and find for in line art, so you can color it. So you get an example of what, you know, the artist intended the images to be colored like, and then you can do the same, or you can do completely opposite like I chose to do. So yeah, I really liked that idea. And it's another one of those where you can just spend 60 years coloring one at a time, or you can color little pieces. And yeah. Last two on this shelf are, this one is called Vintage My Room. And it's not usually my style. It's one of those ones I went back and forth on if I wanted it or not, but I do think it's really cute. This is a lot of, the paper's like kind of thick and the spine is weird. It's a lot of different rooms around the house, very, very detailed and pattern decorated. It reminds me, I forget even what it's called now. I wanted to remember, but there's a designer, an American designer, I think, that does these super detailed patterns, but very bright and everything. And my mother-in-law is really into their stuff. And it really reminds me of my mother-in-law, honestly, because of all the patterns and all the decoration that, you know, she puts into her house and her life in general. So I think that's one of the reasons I ended up picking it up. Because it reminds me of her and how her house would be decorated if she had, you know, these items. So, because I'm a very minimalist. I mean, aside from the amount of books that I'm showing you, I do like sci-fi and fantasy things and space, but mostly I'm very minimalist in clean lines and white and stuff like that. So I'm not big on the patterns, but yeah. This one, I'm rambling for no reason. This one is Dinosaurs by William Stout, and it's not all of, but it's all pen and ink work and all dinosaur themed, and it's just super detailed and realistic, and I just love this kind of style. I love this kind of thing that makes me think of comic books, but not being superheroes, because I don't like superheroes. You know, not that they're not cool for everybody else, I'm just not into it. But I do like the comic book style and, you know, the pen and ink style in general, so I had to pick this one up, and I'm really glad. I didn't see a flip through, so I'm really glad when it came that, you know, it's as cool as it is. So, alright, I will go and get more books and be right back. Alright, 45 minutes left on my card, and very last stack, so we can do this, everybody. Okay, this is the Supernatural coloring book. And it's the official coloring book, so you've got pictures of the guys, and then pictures of, mostly their promo pictures, and then you've got pictures of more random things, like that. And there is a second one, but I don't have that one. Then this one is The Hobbit, and it's one of those ones that I'm pretty sure is just this artist self-publishing the images, but they did a really good job, so I actually really like this one. I'm not sure if it's for sale anymore, but I like it. I like it better than the official ones. I'm going to try and keep this even. My stack almost fell over when I was bringing it over here, so it's kind of crazy. This one is John Byrne's Stowaway to the Stars, and this is a coloring book and also a story book. So you have the story on this side and the coloring on that side. It's basically a kid sneaks into an alien spaceship and gets kind of taken away for a little while, and then they have to bring her back home. So, lots of space stuff. This one is the Flower Fairies alphabet coloring book, and this was only $1, and it's the just the line art of the original prints that the artist did. So this one is The Adorable Circle of Life by Alex Stolis, and this was a gift to me, but it's basically the predatory animal and their prey. but done in adorable fashion, so I like that. It's sort of, you know, educational horror. That's always fun, right? You'll have to excuse my dog if you can hear him. He's being a brat, but I think he's got a bone now. There he goes. Okay, this is a Creative Christmas Coloring Book by Marjorie Sarnat for Creative Haven. And you've got detailed doodly type things in non-denominational Christmas. And this one is Winter Wonderland. And I've done a couple out of this one. I really like this one. I actually took a bunch of pages out to color and haven't gotten to all of them yet, but yeah. This one is Country Charm. These ones are by Teresa Goodridge. There's one of them that's not, but... So, all of these. Just country-ish, calming type themes. It's weird. It makes me feel calm looking at those. Excuse me. My sleeves keep falling down and I can't move. This one is Autumn Scenes. So there's some like this that I won't color, but there's some that are actually like scenes that are really cute. And the paper's pretty decent with Copics, so it's fun. This one is Summer Scenes. So just more summery type things. You get a bit of beach in there and flowers and that kind of thing. And then this one is Country Scenes. And this one's by Dot Barlow. So that. Go away, dog. Your daddy's not home. Go. There you go. This one is Kawaii Alpacas. And there's two of these, but I only have this one. It's just super cute, one of those kind of mindless coloring things. Another one I was just going to use crayons in, just to have something bright and kind of crazy to color. This one is Manic Botanic by Ziflin, and it's all animals in sort of swirly kind of backgrounds, which I thought was really fun. I have used my Copics on this, but this version is CreateSpace, so I will probably just scan and reprint it from now on. Because I can use them, but it's really annoying to control with the paper. That, you know, it's not fun having to focus that much, so I don't bother. This one is a Shadowscapes coloring book by Stephanie Law. And she's a watercolor artist as well as a fantasy and tarot artist. And she actually commented on the one that I did, and she said that, you know, when she looked at the tag, she didn't even recognize her own art because it was so different. And I'm like, I don't know if that's a compliment or not, but thank you. This one is by Amy Brown. It's Fairies. And her fairies are pretty simple. There's several of these books, but the way I feel is if you have one, you have all the other ones. So, this one was gifted to me, so I just have this one. And then the same with her dragons. I think she has several dragons books, but I just have this one because dragons are cool. And it's one of those ones where, like, I didn't have a lot of books when I got it. So it's like, oh, I could color that. It's not, I'm dying to color that, but I could color that. But there's a lot of things I could color because, I mean, not to toot my own horn, but I'm not a bad colorist. So, like, I can color lots of things. But if I'm dying to color something, that's more of something that I'll reach for. And this is Foxes and Fairies by Meredith Dillman. This is one of those ones, and like I was like, oh, I probably shouldn't buy any more coloring books. I'm just gonna do with what I have for now. And then Amazon's like, hey, look at this, Foxes, Fairies, Asian theme. You love it. You know you do. And of course, I had to go get it. So they actually did a sampling of this book and her other book in one of the Coloring Heaven books. But I didn't get that. I just had this. Because again, when I went to, I actually saw it in our bookstores, but it was, what do they sell for in America? Like $15, and it's $18 if I have my friend ship it, so it's kind of the same price, and I didn't want it that much, so yeah. This one is another Selina Fennec, and this one is Festive Fairies. It's one of those ones that has two copies, but I like that it's not too denominational. I mean, angels, obviously, but and there's some winter theme in here too, so I can color it more than just in December. And this one is Fairy Companions by Selina Fennec. And this is one of the first ones I got. This is the first time I colored with Copics on Create Space paper. I don't like it, but yeah. I do it. I don't like it, but I do it. I made her super dark to see how much the paper would take. So, that's that one. And then this one is Fadorables by Selina Fennec. And this is the Halloween one, so you get more of the spooky themes. And that's the one that was in the Creative Haven Halloween special. Excuse me. See, it's getting worse because it's been a couple hours since I did my meds. But I only sort of stopped shaking. This is the only physical Jade Summer book I have. The other ones had codes in them for digi-copies, and apparently she's not selling, or, well, it's not even a woman, but apparently they're not selling them anymore, but the original Mermaids was not, it didn't have a code in it, so I have the original Mermaids, and I have the other two Mermaids and a bunch of other Jade Summers as digi. And I don't know what happens after that. I don't know if they're doing any more or what. So we'll see. Maybe I'll end up with more Jade Summer books that way. But this is the only physical one I have now. So I really like that one. It's more the adult ones. The ones that they have now are more geared towards a younger audience or a more cute audience. This one is Kawaii Witches, an autumn Halloween book. So you get Halloween, you get autumn, and all in super cute style. My dog is staring at me. I think he's confused because I'm talking and I'm not looking at him. But my other dog is asleep, so, like, just go to sleep. This one is Spooktacular Halloween, and it's one of those ones I got for just a couple dollars. That, you know, it's Halloween themed, so I'll give it a color. Kind of thing, if I didn't have anything else to pick up. It was very cheap. There's different styles in here, so that's kind of fun. But, yeah. And then this one is Grimm's Nightmares from the Other World. And this is all, like, horror versions of the fairy tales. And I thought that was fun. So that one's Sleeping Beauty. That one is Little Red Riding Hood, stuff like that. Snow White. And then this one is Alice's Nightmare Adventure in Wonderland. I don't like Alice in Wonderland. I'm one of the few people that apparently does not understand the whole hype around Alice in Wonderland. But I thought that the horror version is fun. So that's why I picked that one up. I like that one. And then this one I really like. It's called the Manga Invasion Coloring Book. And it's all different kinds of doodles. So you have a main character, a main creature type or animal or something like that, and then smaller versions of it. So like that one's all voodoo dolls. This one's all spiders. So you got little tiny spiders with the big main spider and then an actual person. I thought it was a cool idea. So I really like this book. And then this one I just got recently. I didn't have a chance to color in it. But it's Spooky Doodles. So you've got just a lot of Halloween characters. And more on the fun side. So I have fun and creepy. A little mix of both, which is nice. This one is the Magical Fairy Village. And it's just little fairies in their own houses in the woods, kind of a thing. And you get some animals as well. And then this one is Serene Little Village, Tiny Fairies in the Flower Meadow. And so, again, with little fairies and little animals and stuff like that. Just cute. And I think more like, these make me think of spring, so I'll probably color those in spring. That's why I kind of put it away before I did anything with it yet. But, yeah. And then this one I really like is called Peaceful Village of Dreams. And I don't know why it got bent. I think it got bent when they shipped it to me. But it doesn't matter. I won't color the paper itself anyway. Makes it hard to flip though. This one is a bunch of little houses and you get the little characters that live in them. I love this one a lot better than the Nice Little Town series. I find it much more imaginative and varied. And I don't like the mice that she went in that direction now. So I was really happy when I saw this because this is so much what I'm looking for in a tiny house kind of genre, I guess you could say. So I'm excited to color pretty much every image in this book. They're really great. So yeah. What do you want, Spartacus? He's over there whining if you can't hear him. This one is called Doodles in Outer Space. And it's exactly what it says on the tin, just a lot of doodles in outer space and a lot of crazy ideas and just cute scenarios and stuff like that. More mindless coloring. This one I had my parents get me because I knew that they would, because my mom's like, that is the cutest book ever. It's a bunch of cats, just piles and piles of cats. Cats in boxes, big cats, little cats, cats in jars, cats surfing, just all kinds of cats. So, I'm a dog person in real life. I grew up with cats and I have dogs as an adult, as, you know, my kids. But, I really like them both, so I don't really want to own a cat again. Ours passed August of 2017, so. Underwater Doodle Expedition is very, very similar to the other ones. You get a main character or a main thing, and then the, you know, whales or doodles or undersea things around it, and I really love the ocean. I mean, you've seen a lot of books with ocean or water themed, so I had to pick this one up too. I like the mix of realism and cartoon. It's not quite one or the other, it's just both. So I think that's really fun. And then Dino Mom is Dino Doodles. This is when I went through a doodle kick, and I didn't want to color in Kirby's books. So I said, is there other doodles out there? And these ones are main dinosaur and other little tiny doodles. So what I like to do with these things is to pick a main, like 3 colors and color everything in that color scheme so it makes order out of chaos. There's something I find really soothing about that. Instead of coloring each individual animal its own little color, I like to just give it a flat color scheme. I think it looks cool that way. But since I do photograph or scan them, I can redo it again over and over if I want. I just find it's easier that way to just photograph my books before I color in them. Whether I get to it or not, or I do it in years, it doesn't really matter, as long as I have that copy. This is Yam Puff Stuff, and this was gifted to me by my friend. I've been getting her free digis for years, and it was just, you know, she put out a physical book, and I figured it'd be a nice way to support her, and of course my friend ended up doing it monetarily, but the point is that I did get the book. So, cute kawaii stuff. These two are by Mardell Rubio. This is Halloween Color Your Fright. And this is mostly on watercolor type paper. It's really thick paper. I personally don't use my Copics too much on this kind of paper because it does suck the ink out of them. But every other medium works really good because it is nice and thick, and it is one-sided, so you could if you wanted to. And then this one is Sirena, so it's all mermaids, and it makes me think of the Marcos Chin images too. So I don't know that they're both Chinese, but I know they're both Asian. So. This one is, what is it, 4 or 5 books together? I think it's 5. This is 5 of Herb Leonard's books together. So this is Fairy Nouveau. Sorry, my dog is really distracting me. This is what Fairy Nouveau looks like. And then this one is the Fairy Garden. Sorry, there's glare on it. Stop! I'm sorry. This one is more of a, it has a little story in it. So that's kind of fun. And then this one is Fantasy Nouveau. So this one has more dragons, and there's a unicorn in it, and princesses. And what's the other one? This one is Legend Nouveau. So that one's different legends and story tales. And the last one is Nouveau. So that one has a little bit about the flower that's depicted on the other side and the fairy that goes with it. Those are cute. And just a couple more left and we'll be done. This one is Lost You Forever, and it's Chinese, and so I can't actually read any of it. But a lot of anime style, cute girls. There's some guys in here, but it's mostly females in traditional, clothes and stuff like that. This one is Dream of Deities. This one says Mountain and Sea Classics, A Dream of Deities. So this one is more fantasy and sort of, I don't want to say monster, but like creatures, stuff like that. And then we have unicorns, colorful unicorns. And this one I just got for Christmas. But lots of unicorns and fairies, and there's some gnomes in here, but mostly the whole unicorn idea. I realized I didn't have any horses, and unicorns are more fun than horses, so yeah. And then we've got Disney Animals. So this was the first book that I got, the first adult coloring book that I got. It's very patterned and but it still has, your favorite characters and stuff like that. So there's that one, and then I have, with the same idea, I have villains. So this one is same patterns, but just all villains. And then this one is, this one's all just Finding Dory. So yeah, just all of the characters from that film, but with a more wallpaper theme, and then you get some scenes in it too. Yeah. I was kind of sad about the amount of wallpaper that were in it, but, what are you going to do? That one I got from Amazon France, so it took a while to get here. I keep opening them before I show you the cover. This one is Legendary Worlds adult coloring book, and this one is a compilation of different artists. So you get a lot of different styles, but I bought it for this kind of style with the really surreal kind of landscapes and stuff like that. And it's a huge book. It's 12 by 12, so you get some realistic ones, and then you get some like that. So I really like the idea of this one, so that was fun. And then the last one I have to show you is this one, this Disney one, and it is also huge. But it's all Disney scenes from the movies, and then it basically tells you about it on the other side, but it says in another language that I can't read, so. See a bunch of scenes from the movie, and it's essentially single-sided, so. I think the only thing that turns me off about this is it's so large, but yeah. So that is my collection of coloring books. According to my spreadsheet, it is 168 books, and I will show you my spreadsheet once I post-process this. So yeah, thank you very much for watching. I know it was long. I hope you enjoyed it, and I will try next year to have another one. So, alright, goodbye.